No, no lumbar support chair. I thought I'd move Laura up too, so she can, well, plus she can be closer to the speakers.
Come back together again, but yeah, they both kind of went
Um,
almost extinct, didn't they? American Legion and DFW.
Instead of us hiding over there.
All good. No need to hide behind
American Legion, I guess, does it?
levels.
That's right. I wanted to be on TV.
DFW's been, of course, they've been meeting in that little building.
You need to bring your nameplate from your office and set it out here too.
What's that?
Bring your nameplate from your office and set it out here on the table.
Good.
Cherry Hill, Midland, and, oh, Midland, and, how you know, years ago, they were both big organizations.
I don't know.
DFW.
We're ordering new signs, new advertisement signs. A lot of them
Cool building, you know, sitting up there.
going double
We
sign.
met there for,
They're gonna be different colors. They're all white. CDP, Rezon's all different colors.
Right.
There won't be anybody missing these signs.
And roll call,
What do you think, Laura?
agenda, minutes,
Yeah, you're gonna have to like,
one item, go home.
It is 5:30, so we will call the meeting to order for Planning and Zoning meeting of May the 17th, 2022. Roll call. First of all, we welcome Sarah Shropshire. Shropshire, okay. This is her first meeting. Chase Sisk was here, but he's moving out of the city, so he's given up his seat. Let the record reflect that all are present with the exception of Nate Treadaway. Has everybody had an opportunity to look over the minutes from the previous meeting?
yes.
Are there any deletions, additions, or corrections?
I have one thing I wanted to point out. Nate Treadaway is listed both as present and absent.
My apologies, I will get that corrected.
Thank you. With that correction, entertain a motion to approve the minutes with that correction.
So moved.
Second?
In a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Code officer report at this time, or?
Yeah, I'll take that one,
All right.
just to give you guys an update on where we stand. So as of last week's city council meeting, the city council designated the city administrator as code enforcement officer to comply with all provisions of the charter. So that being me, right now, I am also going to delegate those powers to a couple different individuals, just because the workload that we have going on right now is a little bigger than just one person can bear. So now that Brad's been with us for over a year now, he's doing a great job. He's going to be taking over what I consider the front end role for code enforcement duties. That's the planning and zoning, the administration of the initial plat reviews, any other preliminary reviews that need to be done, working with you all, P&Z and HPC on a daily basis. And then Patrick Kelly will continue to operate as a code enforcement officer for what I consider the back end items, building plan reviews, licensing, permitting, certificates of occupancies, things of that nature. So both of these gentlemen will continue to work hand in hand each day, just to make sure all the business is handled. And for the time being, Patrick is going to continue with heading up the marshal service as well. We just hired 2 new marshals to do robust code enforcement in this community. And eventually, we're going to grow that into its own kind of standalone division. But for right now, Patrick will be heading that up. There's some other odds and ends that fall in between, and I'll continue to delegate those out between Patrick and Brad Callender here as we move along.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will declare the public hearings open. And the first item of business is a request for a COA to allow for construction of a restaurant at 250 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Code Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The request before Planning Commission is a certificate of appropriateness for the CDO, the Corridor Design Overlay. So what's proposed before you is a restaurant. This is on at 250 MLK Boulevard, out there on Highway 138. It's proposed to have one entrance off of MLK. They've already gotten their GDOT approval for this location, and they're proposing to enter that site from that one location. They're going to have parking in the front. As you can see on the plan behind you, they'll be parking in the front of the building, and then there's a 10,000 square foot building proposed in the center of the site. And then they'll have more associated parking for that business around each side of the building. Their representative architecture, they provided with this application, it meets the requirements of the CDO architectural standards. And they've also included a landscape plan and some other detailed engineering plans with this application that does meet our CDO requirements. So staff's reviewed this request and has recommended two conditions. One specifically just dealing with monument signage. That's your first condition. And then the second condition is the replacement of EFS siding and stucco in place of that. And those are the two recommendations from staff. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I would ask this time if there was someone present to speak for this request.
Good evening. Patrick Stanton with Foresight Group. I'm a civil engineer representing the owner on this particular property. Got our architect here as well. This is probably, I guess, the third time we've come before you guys for a certificate on this particular project because it's been delayed and various sewer issues and things that got in the way. So it's basically the same project. We got caught up in our permitting was expired on this particular one. So I'll be here. We are here to answer questions if you care to ask any.
Anyone have questions? You understand the two conditions that he's referring to?
Yes, yes, I do. The
That-
monument, we have to come back before this board again for a monument
A
sign.
monument sign.
And the
And
stucco and
okay,
little
you're
EFS is
okay
fine.
with the, okay, with the rest
Yes.
of it.
Yes, sir.
I assume the landscaping issue was verified?
What issue is it?
At 643A.4 landscaping, it indicates that compliance with landscaping requirements will need to be verified.
Right, that's just a general statement that says that when those site plans are turned into Patrick, that we confirm that what they've turned in for the CDU application will match that.
Okay.
That would occur at that time. But the submitted plan did meet the CDO requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Good. No questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I would have to ask at this time if there was anyone present to speak in opposition to this request. Seeing none, we will close the public hearings at this time, and I'll ask for a motion. So moved. Motion to approve with conditions.
With conditions, yes.
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Request is approved. Is there any old business to come before the board? Under new business, we have a request for de-annexation at 1700 Snows Mill Road. Code Officer.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The request before Planning Commission for recommendation to council is a request to de-annex 17.223 acres. This is located on the kind of the southeastern flank of this property here that abuts Snows Mill Road. The property is currently owned by the Walton County Development Authority, and they are requesting, per their applicant, to de-annex this property from the city. I believe they have an applicant here tonight that can explain that request further, but I believe they've gone through the proper channels and processes with the county at this point to consider that de-annexation.
Thank you. So is there someone here to speak for that? Yes, good.
Good evening. My name is Andrea Gray, and I have the pleasure of representing the Walton County Veterans Association. Joined with me here tonight by the president of that association, Officer Scott Wisnett, and with fellow member Don Smith. As Mr. Callender told you, we are here requesting to de-annex 17.223 acres. And to give you an idea of where that sits in relation to the city limits, here's a map, and the yellow shaded areas are the city limits. And so you can see I've circled our property there in red along Snows Mill Road, just east of Unicia Drive and south of 78. A little bit closer view here. You can see that it's part of the Piedmont Industrial Development Park right now that's owned by the Walton County Development Authority. My client has worked with that development authority to reach an agreement to purchase this 17.223 acres for the purposes of building a new meeting facility for the Veterans Association. The 17.223 acres is part of a 72-acre tract that they're working. I believe they may have come before you last month, possibly, to do their preliminary plat approval to split off these into two parcels. And here's a little bit closer view with our site plan overlaid on it. The blue shading on the property is all undevelopable. There is a good bit of floodplain on the property, but there's plenty left to use, and you can see there that we've got about a 5,000 square foot building, some outdoor pavilion type space, and then parking. So it is our intent to de-annex this property from the city to be able to use it for this use. And as you can see, it's abutted on the eastern side by property that's already in the county. So it's contiguous to a consistent designation. The de-annexation process, you probably haven't seen many of these come through. Maybe you've seen none of these come through. But Georgia law does have a process for it under 3622. It requires that we file an application to the city, which we did, and that the county issue a resolution approving taking that property back into the county, because once we de-annex it from the city, it'll go back to the county, and that has been part of our application. And then we're here tonight asking for approval from the city. And again, because this is a veterans-owned, nonprofit organization, the property will be tax exempt, so the city is not going to be losing any tax revenues off this property because of the use that's intended. And the reason that they're asking to be de-annexed is the city won't be providing any, sewer utility type services. And so that is the basis for their request. So again, we're here before you tonight to request de-annexing the 17.223 acres, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Just curious, like the sewer, will that be county provided?
It'll be septic because the county doesn't have sewer. Mhm.
And there is water, I understand.
There is water, yes.
And just some background on the sewer. We would serve it sewer. It's just extremely hard to serve it with the existing gravity line to get across that floodplain. And the expense would be borne on this group, and I don't think that would be a great use of their funds. So the de-annexation was kind of last resort here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I don't think there's no opposition to this. We'll entertain a motion to approve the de-annexation.
I move we approve.
Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, sorry. The motion is approved. We'd better quit while I'm here. Well, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.